Ladies and gentlemen, today I invite you to open your hearts and minds to a sobering truth that can shape the direction of your life. Too often we focus on what we see, hear, and feel in the natural, but we fail to discern the spiritual forces operating behind the scenes. Not everything or everyone that enters your life is sent by God. Some individuals come cloaked in the appearance of light, yet their true intent is to derail your destiny. How can you tell when someone is not just a hindrance, but a weapon of darkness sent against you? Pay attention to their fruit, their patterns, and their impact on your purpose. Some people seem to thrive in chaos and feed on confusion. When they speak, their words carry a poison laced with manipulation and deceit. They twist truth to serve their agenda, leaving you feeling drained, doubting yourself, and questioning what you know to be true. Observe their presence in your life. Do they push you toward compromise? A person sent to destroy you will not support the standards that keep you aligned with your calling. Instead, they will lure you into distractions, temptations, and decisions that distance you from your core values. They may even convince you that their way is harmless while steering you toward destruction. Consider their impact on your peace. True alignment with God's plan brings clarity and calm, but those operating under a demonic influence carry an atmosphere of unease. Their presence may bring division where there was once unity, fear where there was once courage, and confusion where there was once direction. They are not builders of purpose, but breakers of trust and breakers of focus. Pay attention to those who celebrate your struggles more than your successes. A demon in disguise will never rejoice when you grow, overcome, or advance. Instead, they may subtly plant seeds of doubt, discouragement, or even envy. Their smiles hide resentment, and their applause often comes with hidden motives. Take note of their patterns of control. These individuals may seek to dominate your decisions, isolate you from true support systems, or make you dependent on their approval. Their influence is never about partnership or collaboration. It is about power. They seek to become the center of your world, replacing what is meant to be reserved for the divine. Do they mock what is sacred? A person operating under dark influence will have no reverence for the things of God. They may ridicule your faith, dismiss your convictions, and make light of what you hold dear. Their aim is to weaken your spiritual foundation, for without it, you become more vulnerable to their schemes. Finally, ask yourself this when they leave your presence. Do you feel strengthened or diminished? Do you feel like you've been equipped for your purpose? Or do you feel like life has been drained from you? A person aligned with your destiny will uplift, encourage, and sharpen you. But a demonic influence will always subtract from your joy, your energy, and your direction. Discernment is not a gift for the elite. It is a necessity for anyone walking a life of purpose. Not everyone who walks beside you is meant to journey with you. Open your spiritual eyes, guard your heart, and remain vigilant. For the enemy does not come wearing horns and carrying a pitchfork. Sometimes he shows up as a friend, a lover, or even an advisor. Stay awake and stay rooted in truth. It is critical to recognize that the spiritual battle we face does not always announce itself with grand, dramatic moments. Often it unfolds in the subtle, quiet, seemingly ordinary interactions of daily life. The people we allow into our inner circle, the ones we trust with our dreams, fears, and vulnerabilities, these are the people who can either propel us forward or pull us down. Discernment is the key to identifying who truly belongs and who has been planned to disrupt, delay, or destroy. The first sign someone may carry a demonic influence is the consistent presence of confusion in their wake. You may find that conversations with them leave you feeling unsure about decisions you were once confident in. They thrive on ambiguity, weaving half-truths and contradictions to unsettle your mind and cause you to second-guess yourself. This is not the confusion that comes from learning or growth. which challenges you to rise higher. No, this is the confusion that leaves you paralyzed, questioning your worth, your direction, and even your identity. Pay attention to those whose words seem sweet but carry an aftertaste of bitterness. These individuals are often agents of division. Where there was harmony, they bring strife. Where there was trust, they plant seeds of doubt. You might notice that relationships with others in your life begin to fracture after this person enters the picture. They may speak negatively about those closest to you, not overtly but subtly, with the intention of isolating you. Isolation is one of their greatest weapons because it removes you from the support systems God has placed around you to keep you strong. Be wary of those who sow discord while pretending to be peacemakers. Another clear sign is their inability to celebrate your victories genuinely. Someone sent to derail your destiny will never truly rejoice in your progress. Their congratulations will be hollow, often accompanied by subtle remarks designed to diminish your achievements or shift the focus back to themselves. They may even try to outshine you, turning every moment of your success into an opportunity to highlight their own accomplishments. Watch for those who are more comfortable with your failures than your victories, for their joy is tied not to your growth but to your stagnation. You must also examine their influence on your spiritual life. Do they encourage you to stay connected to God, or do they subtly pull you away? It is not always overt. Rarely will they tell you to abandon your faith outright. Instead, they may encourage you to prioritize other things, success, relationships, or even rest over your spiritual disciplines. They may ridicule your commitment to prayer, dismiss the importance of accountability, or encourage behaviors that conflict with your values. Over time, their influence can create a distance between you and God, leaving you vulnerable to greater attacks. Pay close attention to their appetite for control. People operating under demonic influence often have an insatiable need to dominate the lives of others. They may disguise their control as care, concern, or even love. But their ultimate goal is to make you dependent on them. They may offer unsolicited advice, push their opinions as if they are the only truth, or demand loyalty at the expense of your freedom. They manipulate situations to ensure you need them, positioning themselves as your only source of wisdom, comfort, or guidance. This is not the love of God, which empowers and sets you free. This is bondage disguised as friendship or affection. Another significant marker is their disdain for the sacred. Those influenced by darkness have no reverence for the things of God. They mock what you hold dear, trivialize your convictions, and question the value of your faith. They may not do it openly sometimes. Their irreverence is cloaked in humor or casual indifference. But over time, their lack of respect for spiritual principles begins to wear on your own commitment. Do not allow anyone to make you feel ashamed of your devotion to God or your dedication to living righteously. Their disdain is a reflection of their alignment, not yours. One of the most telling signs is the effect they have on your energy and joy. After spending time with them, do you feel uplifted or drained? Do you leave their presence feeling inspired or burdened? Someone truly sent by God to walk alongside you will pour into your spirit, even in challenging moments. But those operating under dark influences will consistently take from you, leaving you depleted and disoriented. They may even disguise their drain as a natural result of life's pressures, but the pattern is clear: they subtract rather than add. People with demonic intent often carry an air of counterfeit love. They can be charming, generous, and attentive, but their love always comes with strings attached. It is not selfless or sacrificial, it is transactional. They give to get, and their affection is conditional upon your ability to meet their needs or fulfill their desires. True love is patient, kind, and free of manipulation, but counterfeit love is controlling, demanding, and rooted in selfishness. Do not be deceived by surface level acts of kindness. Look deeper at the motives behind them. Another subtle but significant sign is the way they handle your dreams and aspirations. A person sent to derail you will not support your vision. They may dismiss your goals as unrealistic, belittle your ambitions, or discourage you from pursuing what God has placed in your heart. They may even encourage you to settle for less, convincing you that what you have is good enough or that striving for more is unnecessary. Be cautious of those who cannot see the greatness within you or who actively try to dim your light. The enemy often operates through the power of proximity. The closer someone is to you, the more influence they have over your decisions, emotions, and mindset. This is why it is essential to guard your inner circle fiercely. Not everyone deserves access to your vulnerabilities, your plans, or your heart. Some people come into your life not to build but to spy, not to support but to sabotage. They may appear loyal, but their true intentions are revealed in how they handle your moments of weakness, your seasons of struggle, and your times of triumph. It is also important to recognize that not everyone who enters your life with harmful intent is fully aware of their role. Some people are being used by forces they do not understand, operating under influences that drive their behavior without their full knowledge. This is why it is crucial to approach these situations with prayer and discernment rather than anger or resentment. Our battle is not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual forces operating in unseen realms. When you recognize these signs in someone, it is not always your job to confront or correct them. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is distance yourself and commit the situation to God in prayer. Ask for wisdom, clarity, and courage to make the necessary changes to protect your purpose. Do not allow guilt, fear, or obligation to keep you bound to relationships that God is calling you to release. You must be vigilant because the enemy is subtle. He does not announce his plans with fanfare. Instead, he infiltrates quietly, working through the people and circumstances closest to your heart. But God has equipped you with the tools you need to stand firm. He has given you discernment, the guidance of his word, and the power of his spirit. When you stay connected to him, no weapon formed against you will prosper, and no scheme of the enemy will succeed in your life. The enemy operates in subtlety, seeking to infiltrate the sacred spaces of your life under the guise of familiarity, trust, and even love. If you're not vigilant, you may mistake their presence as a blessing, when in truth, it is an assignment meant to pull you away from your purpose. Discernment is not optional, it is essential. It is the lens through which you must evaluate every connection, every relationship, and every interaction. You will know someone is not sent by God when their influence leads you to compromise. It may start small, a suggestion to bend a rule here, to overlook a principle there. At first, it seems harmless. But over time, these small compromises begin to add up, chipping away at the foundation of your integrity. You may find yourself justifying decisions you once knew were wrong, all because their voice became louder than the still small voice of God. The enemy rarely asks you to leap into disobedience. Instead, he nudges you one step at a time, often through the words and actions of those closest to you. Observe how they respond to correction. A person truly aligned with God will welcome accountability and embrace truth, even when it is uncomfortable. But someone operating under a demonic influence will resist correction with hostility, deflection, or manipulation. They may try to turn the tables, making you feel guilty for addressing their behavior, or they may dismiss your concerns as baseless. Their goal is to avoid accountability at all costs, because truth exposes their intentions. Be cautious of those who cannot accept responsibility for their actions or who consistently shift blame onto others. Observe how they respond to correction. A person truly aligned with God will welcome accountability and embrace truth even when it is uncomfortable. But someone operating under a demonic influence will resist correction with hostility, deflection, or manipulation. They may try to turn the tables, making you feel guilty for addressing their behavior, or they may dismiss your concerns as baseless. Their goal is to avoid accountability at all costs, because truth exposes their intentions. Be cautious of those who cannot accept responsibility for their actions or who consistently shift blame onto others. Pay attention to how they handle conflict. A person walking in alignment with God seeks resolution, understanding, and restoration. But someone with destructive intent will use conflict as a tool for division. They may escalate situations unnecessarily, stir up strife between you and others, or hold onto grudges as a way to maintain control. Their aim is not peace, but power over your emotions, your relationships, and your decisions. Be mindful of those who seem to thrive in chaos, for they are often the source of it. Watch how they treat others, especially those who can offer them nothing in return. A person's character is revealed in their interactions with the powerless, the marginalized, and the overlooked. Someone under a dark influence may be charming and gracious toward those they perceive as useful, but dismissive, cruel, or indifferent to those they deem unimportant. This duplicity is a red flag, for it shows that their actions are rooted not in genuine love, but in self-interest. True goodness is consistent, extending kindness and respect to all, regardless of status or benefit. Be wary of those who diminish your faith. They may not attack it directly, but their actions and words will subtly undermine your spiritual confidence. They may question the value of prayer, mock your commitment to Scripture, or dismiss the importance of seeking God's guidance. Over time, their influence can erode your trust in God, replacing it with doubt, fear, or reliance on their approval. The enemy's goal is always to distance you from your source of strength, and he often does this by working through the people closest to you. Notice their response to your growth. When you take steps toward your calling, do they cheer you on, or do they try to hold you back? A person aligned with God's will for your life will celebrate your progress, even if it challenges or inconveniences them. But someone under a demonic influence will resist your growth because it threatens their ability to control you. They may discourage you, sabotage your efforts, or create distractions that pull you away from your goals. Their actions reveal their true intentions to keep you stuck, stagnant, and dependent on them. Pay attention to how they use words. Words are powerful, carrying the ability to build up or tear down, to give life or to destroy. Someone operating under dark influence often uses words as weapons, whether through gossip, lies, or criticism. They may speak negatively about others behind their backs, sowing seeds of division and mistrust. Or they may use flattery and charm to manipulate you, masking their true motives. Be cautious of those whose words do not align with their actions, for deceit often hides behind a pleasant facade. Examine their patterns over time. Anyone can have a bad day, but consistent behavior reveals true character. Do they bring out the best in you, or do they pull you into negativity, doubt, and fear? Do they inspire you to draw closer to God, or do they lead you further from Him? Patterns speak louder than isolated moments, and over time, the truth of someone's intentions becomes clear. Trust what you see, not just what you feel. For feelings can be deceiving when they are not anchored in truth. Consider how they respond to vulnerability. When you share your struggles, do they offer support and encouragement, or do they exploit your weaknesses for their gain? Someone sent by God will stand with you in your challenges, offering wisdom, prayer, and love. But someone under demonic influence will use your pain as a tool to control or manipulate you. They may bring up your past mistakes to keep you in a cycle of guilt and shame, or they may use your fears to steer you away from God's plan for your life. True support builds, but false support binds. Observe their impact on your spiritual atmosphere. The presence of someone aligned with God brings peace, clarity, and strength even in difficult moments. But the presence of someone under dark influence brings confusion, tension, and discontent. You may find that after spending time with them, your mind feels clouded, your heart feels heavy, and your spirit feels distant from God. This is not a coincidence. It is a sign of their spiritual alignment. Pay attention to the fruit of their presence in your life, for it reveals the root of their influence. Ask yourself if their presence aligns with your purpose. God places people in our lives to help us grow, to challenge us in love, and to encourage us in our calling. But the enemy also places people in our lives to distract, derail, and destroy. Not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay, and not every relationship is meant to be maintained. Sometimes letting go is an act of obedience, a step of faith that creates space for God to bring the right people into your life. Discernment is not just about identifying the wrong people, it is about aligning yourself with the right ones. Surround yourself with individuals who uplift, challenge, and inspire you to become the person God created you to be. Seek out relationships that are rooted in truth, love, and mutual respect. And above all, stay connected to God, for it is in His presence that you gain the clarity, strength, and wisdom to navigate every relationship with grace and confidence. You must guard your heart diligently, for it is the wellspring of life. The enemy knows that if he can corrupt your connections, he can disrupt your purpose. But when you remain vigilant, rooted in truth, and aligned with God's will, no scheme of darkness can prevail against you. You are called to live with purpose, power, and discernment. And with God's guidance, you can navigate every relationship with wisdom and peace. Stay watchful, for the battle is real, but the victory is assured. The spiritual battle that surrounds our lives is relentless, and one of the most effective strategies of the enemy is to use people as instruments of influence. These individuals may not even realize they are being used, but their impact on your life can either draw you closer to your purpose or lead you astray. It is crucial to discern the forces at work behind every relationship, conversation, and decision. The stakes are too high to be careless with your spiritual and emotional well-being. Be vigilant about those who seem to bring a spirit of heaviness into your life. These individuals often carry an air of negativity that overshadows joy, peace, and hope. You may find that their words and actions consistently drag you into cycles of frustration, anxiety, or despair. Their presence creates an atmosphere that feels oppressive, as though a weight has settled on your shoulders. Such an atmosphere is not from God, for His presence brings lightness and freedom. Recognize this dynamic and do not ignore warning signs it presents. There is a distinct difference between someone challenging you to grow and someone attempting to diminish your value. A person sent by God will hold you accountable, encouraging you to step into your full potential with love and grace. However, a person operating under dark influence will highlight your flaws and mistakes, not to help you improve, but to keep you in a state of insecurity. They may subtly compare you to others, making you feel as though you are not enough. This tactic is designed to weaken your confidence, rendering you less effective in pursuing your calling. Be cautious of those who constantly criticize without offering constructive solutions or encouragement. People who carry a destructive influence often project their own fears and failures onto others. They may discourage you from stepping out in faith because they themselves are paralyzed by doubt. They may ridicule your dreams, not because your vision is flawed, but because they cannot see beyond their limitations. These individuals are often threatened by the boldness of your aspirations, as it highlights their own unwillingness to trust God fully. Surround yourself with those who fan the flames of your passion, not those who attempt to extinguish it out of their own insecurity. Manipulation is another hallmark of a person whose influence is not aligned with God. They may use guilt, fear, or obligation to control your decisions, often under the guise of caring for you. This is a dangerous form of influence because it disguises itself as love or concern. True love empowers and sets free. It does not bind or control. Be wary of those who consistently make you feel as though you owe them something, even when you have given all you can. Their intent is not to build you up, but to keep you tethered to their desires. The enemy often uses familiarity to lower your guard. It is not always the obvious adversary who poses the greatest threat. Sometimes it is the person you trust most. They may not come into your life with clear malice, but their influence can still be detrimental. Pay attention to patterns, not just isolated incidents. A person's true character is revealed over time through their consistency or lack thereof. Do not ignore the red flags because of emotional attachment or history. Trust is a precious gift, and it must be given wisely. You must also be aware of the spiritual alignment of those closest to you. Someone who is not connected to God cannot effectively support your spiritual growth. This does not mean you should only associate with those who share your faith, but it does mean that you must be cautious about how much influence you allow someone to have if their values conflict with your own. Relationships should never compromise your commitment to God. If you find yourself prioritizing a person over your relationship with him, it is time to reevaluate that connection. A critical indicator of someone's true nature is how they handle adversity. Life will inevitably bring challenges, and the way people respond to those challenges reveals their spiritual foundation. A person walking in alignment with God will face difficulties with faith, resilience, and humility, even in their struggles. However, someone under dark influence may use adversity as an excuse to lash out, manipulate, or withdraw from accountability. They may even blame you for their troubles, attempting to shift responsibility in order to avoid confronting their own shortcomings. These patterns are not conducive to healthy, God-centered relationships. The fruit of someone's life will always reveal their true character. Scripture reminds us that a good tree cannot bear bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot bear good fruit. Look closely at the outcomes of their actions. Do they bring peace or chaos? Do they foster unity or division? Do they encourage growth or stifle it? The fruit of someone's influence in your life is not something to be taken lightly, as it directly impacts your ability to fulfill your purpose. One of the most subtle yet destructive tactics of the enemy is the use of distraction. A person under demonic influence may not actively oppose your goals, but they will subtly pull your attention away from what matters most. They may introduce unnecessary drama, demand excessive amounts of your time, or steer conversations toward topics that have no bearing on your purpose. Over time, these distractions can accumulate, leaving you off course without even realizing how it happened. Stay vigilant and guard your focus, for it is one of your greatest assets in pursuing God's plan for your life. It is important to remember that no relationship is worth the cost of your peace, purpose, or connection to God. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is to let that go. This is not an act of judgment or rejection, but of obedience to the calling on your life. God has entrusted you with a unique purpose, and you must protect it at all costs. Surround yourself with people who align with that purpose, who encourage you, challenge you in love, and walk with you in truth. Even as you discern and distance yourself from harmful influences, it is essential to approach these situations with grace and humility. Remember that the individuals in question may not fully understand the role they are playing in your life. Pray for them, asking God to reveal truth and bring healing to their hearts. Forgiveness is a powerful tool in your spiritual arsenal, not because it excuses their actions, but because it frees you from the burden of bitterness. The relationships in your life are a reflection of your alignment and focus. When God has a purpose for you, He often sends people to walk alongside you, mentors, friends, and companions who challenge you, uplift you, and hold you accountable. These individuals are divine connections, strategically placed to encourage you and strengthen your faith. But just as God sends the right people, the enemy sends the wrong ones. These individuals may not always seem harmful at first. Their intentions are often masked by charm, familiarity, or even a false sense of security. One of the clearest indications that someone in your life might be operating under a demonic influence is when their presence consistently disrupts your peace. They may not even be actively hostile, but their influence feels heavy, unsettling, and disorienting. A relationship that God ordains will bring peace, even in moments of disagreement or conflict. It will not rob you of clarity or pull you away from the foundation of truth in your life. Peace is a marker of divine alignment. And the absence of peace is a sign that something needs to be examined closely. Pay attention to the consistency of someone's words versus their actions. A person operating with harmful intent may speak the language of support, encouragement, and love, but their actions will betray their true motives. They might make promises they never keep, express commitment without follow through, or show interest in your well-being only when it benefits them. Over time, this inconsistency erodes trust and leaves you feeling confused or emotionally drained. God is not the author of confusion, and relationships meant to build you up will align words with deeds. Beware of those who seem to thrive in conflict or crisis. These individuals often create drama where none exists, or they escalate minor issues into major problems. Their goal is not resolution but control. By keeping you entangled in cycles of confusion, frustration, or emotional chaos, they prevent you from focusing on the higher calling God has placed on your life. They may even position themselves as the only person who can fix the chaos they create, further deepening your dependence on them. True relationships do not operate this way. They foster growth, healing, and progress. Discernment requires that you examine not only how people treat you, but also how they treat others. A person's interactions with those who hold no power over them, servers at restaurants, co-workers, or strangers, reveal the authenticity of their character. Someone who shows respect, patience, and kindness in these moments is likely walking in alignment with God's principles. Conversely, someone who is dismissive, rude, or cruel in these interactions may harbor intentions that are not rooted in love. Character is consistent, and the way someone treats others reflects how they view the world and their place in it. People sent by the enemy often exploit your vulnerabilities. They may appear understanding and supportive at first, but over time, they use your fears, insecurities, or weaknesses as leverage to manipulate you. They might remind you of past mistakes, amplify your doubts, or subtly discourage you from pursuing what God has called you to do. Their influence keeps you focused on your flaws rather than your potential. A person operating under God's influence, on the other hand, will always point you back to grace, encouraging you to rise above your past and step into your purpose. Another key indicator is how they respond to boundaries. Healthy relationships respect boundaries, understanding that they are necessary for growth, safety, and mutual respect. But someone under a demonic influence will resist or outright reject boundaries, seeing them as obstacles to their control. They may guilt you into changing your decisions, question your motives, or accuse you of being unloving or selfish for prioritizing your well-being. Their inability to respect boundaries reveals their desire to dominate rather than collaborate. You must also consider the spiritual atmosphere that surrounds them. When someone is in alignment with God, their presence brings light, encouragement, and inspiration. Even in difficult conversations or moments of tension, their words and actions point you back to God's truth. But when someone is under the influence of darkness, their presence drains you. You may feel spiritually disconnected, emotionally heavy, or mentally exhausted after spending time with them. This is not a coincidence, but a reflection of the spiritual forces at work in their life. Be sensitive to these shifts in atmosphere, as they are often the Holy Spirit's way of alerting you to hidden dangers. The people the enemy uses are often experts at deflecting responsibility. They avoid accountability by shifting blame onto others, including you. When confronted about their actions or words, they may respond with defensiveness, denial, or manipulation. They twist the narrative to make themselves appear as the victim, leaving you questioning your own perspective or actions. This tactic is designed to keep you off balance, doubting your ability to discern the truth. Relationships built on accountability and mutual respect, however, are marked by humility and a willingness to own mistakes. A significant sign of someone's influence in your life is how they handle your dreams. A person sent by God will encourage your vision, even if it challenges them or requires sacrifice. They will speak life into your goals and help you navigate the obstacles that arise. But someone operating under harmful intent will minimize, mock, or dismiss your aspirations. They may present their criticism as realism, as proclaim they are trying to protect you from disappointment, but their true aim is to keep you from stepping into the fullness of your calling. They may even attempt to redirect your focus toward their own goals, subtly positioning themselves as more important than your purpose. Isolation is another tactic often employed by individuals with harmful intent. They may subtly or overtly discourage you from maintaining other relationships, creating a dynamic where you rely solely on them for support, guidance, or affirmation. This isolation makes it easier for them to exert control and harder for you to gain perspective on their influence. Healthy relationships encourage connection, community, and to support others. They do not demand exclusivity or seek to cut you off from the broader network of people God has placed in your life. The impact of someone's presence in your life is not just emotional or relational, it is spiritual. A person aligned with God's will strengthen your faith, challenges you to grow in righteousness, and supports your walk with Him. Conversely, someone under a demonic influence will weaken your spiritual resolve, distract you from your relationship with God, and create barriers to your growth. They may not do this intentionally, but the outcome is the same, a gradual drift away from the truth. Your relationship with God must always remain your top priority, and any connection that jeopardizes that must be reevaluated. Pay attention to the patterns of life that follow these individuals. Are they consistently surrounded by turmoil, broken relationships, or unfulfilled promises? Do they leave a trail of conflict and confusion wherever they go? These patterns are not accidental but reflective of deeper spiritual realities. Conversely, those who walk with God leave a legacy of peace, restoration, and growth. Their presence brings healing and clarity even in challenging circumstances. Recognizing these patterns requires honesty and courage, as it may mean confronting uncomfortable truths about the people you have allowed into your life. It is not always easy to step back from relationships, especially when emotional ties, history, or circumstances make it difficult. But obedience to God's calling often requires hard decisions. Letting go of someone who is hindering your progress is not an act of judgment or hatred. It is an act of faith and self-preservation. It is trusting that God has better relationships, opportunities, and experiences waiting for you when you align yourself with His will. Your destiny is too important to be derailed by connections that do not serve God's purpose for your life. Every relationship, every interaction, and every influence must be examined through the lens of prayer and discernment. God will never leave you without guidance. He will reveal what you need to see, strengthen you to make the right choices, and surround you with people who reflect His love, wisdom, and truth. Stay rooted in His presence and let His Spirit lead you in all things. You are called to walk in freedom, not bondage, and to fulfill your purpose with confidence and joy. As we navigate the relationships in our lives, we must remember that not everyone who enters is meant to stay. And not everyone who speaks into our lives is speaking from a place of truth. The battle for your purpose is real, and the enemy is cunning, often using those closest to us to distract, derail, or deceive. But you are not without power. God has equipped you with discernment, His Word, and His Spirit to guide you. Guard your heart, for it is the wellspring of life. Be vigilant about the influences you allow into your space, for your purpose is too great, your calling too significant, and your destiny too important to compromise. When you identify someone whose presence disrupts your peace, clouds your judgment, or pulls you away from God, have the courage to set boundaries or let them go. This is not an act of rejection, but of obedience and self-preservation. Above all, stay anchored in your relationship with God. When you align yourself with Him, no scheme of the enemy can prevail against you. Trust Him to surround you with the right people, those who uplift, encourage, and sharpen you for the journey ahead. And remember, no weapon formed against you shall prosper, for you are walking in the authority, purpose, and power of the Almighty. Stand firm, walk boldly, and live with discernment, for your victory is assured in Him. You are called, chosen, and equipped to fulfill your destiny, and nothing, no person, no force, no distraction can stop what God has ordained for your life. Stay faithful, stay vigilant, and move forward with confidence, knowing that the one who called you is faithful to complete the good work He began in you.